Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Call me Mr. Tibbs.
Bazinga.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
This looks like a job for me, Michael Menza, your mad expert. As I promised, I am bringing you my review for the sequel to the 2017 Wonder Woman film, Wonder Woman 84. I would have gotten to it sooner, but I kept putting it off because I was hesitant to watch it twice. Not sure how I got through it the first time. As usual, I will be relatively spoiler-free, but if it was in the trailers, commercials, or headlines, it's fair game. Despite my initial reaction, I did manage to find the good. There are some fine performances from the cast in this film. Gal Gadot and Chris Pine still have that chemistry that we saw in the last film, and they still bring the sizzle. Plus, Kristen Wiig takes center screen here as one of the film's baddies, the Cheetah. Her performance evokes a slightly comic pathos that gives us a nice glimpse into the world of what it's like to be all but invisible to everyone around you and what happens when they start to take notice and see you in a different light. But the best performance is Pedro Pascal as Maxwell Lord, a high-class hustler whose company is floundering, no, outright drowning. And his relationship with his child is suffering as a result of his failing drive to be the best. Pascal runs the gamut of emotional highs and lows and explores as many sides of this character as he can possibly find. Which, of course, pisses me off even more at the folks over at Disney for hiding this performer behind a mask for 2 years in The Mandalorian. Thank you, Warner Brothers, for letting him chew up the scenery the way he did. There's a segment in the pre-credits flashback sequence taking place in Themyscira, the home of Wonder Woman. It is shot so visually stunning and well choreographed that it almost rivals some of the moments taking place in that location in the previous film. It's so good, it brings me right to the bad. The scene goes on a little too long. It's completely unnecessary, doesn't relate to the plot of the rest of the movie, and is so good, it just emphasizes how poor the rest of the film is. Except for setting up the armor of Asteria, the greatest warrior of the Amazon island, it feels mostly pointless. Ordinarily, I'm a fan of period pieces, but choosing the 80s as the period for this film is just not needed. With the backdrops of Wonder Woman's home, the war-torn landscape of 1918 in the last film, it's a somber reminder that the highlights of the 1980s were shopping malls, boardrooms, crappy themed nightclubs, and the Washington power grid. Even the magnificence of the Smithsonian Museum in Washington somehow feels muted. I feel they missed a chance to put Diana into her comic book World War II landscape in favor of an era that was superficial at best. Look, I became an adult in the 80s. I wore parachute pants. I wore fanny packs and Capezio shoes when I faced off in my breakdancing, pop-and-locking battles as a young man. Trust me, we do not need reminders of the clown outfits we wore as kids. But where did that come from? There is so much wrong with major plot points in this film, from a mystical piece of we don't even know what that grants wishes, to the Quantum Leap episode explanation of the return of Steve Trevor. Look, in the last film, even though it appeared that he met his end, no one ever recovered a body. So the writers could have picked from a wide range of ways to resurrect him. Instead, they chose, you know what, you'll see. I should spoil it, but it spoils itself just fine. There are so many huge holes in this plot, and you can't even use it as a good pasta strainer. As outstanding as the actors are, and as much as I admire Patty Jenkins's past work, even they could not save the abomination that was this script. My life hasn't been what you think it has. We all have our struggles. You don't ever have to make a wish for me to love you. I'm here because I love you. Hold on while I call Hallmark Channel. I think we found one of their lost scripts. Maybe if we talk about the rest. I will say this. It's nice to have a film take place in Washington, D.C. that is not about politics. Oh, there are some nice set pieces there that do get a little bit of screen time. Also, Hans Zimmer takes over as the composer of the film's score, and it's every bit as good as what Rupert Gregson Williams gave us last time around. And we do get a pretty satisfying introduction to the fabled invisible plane that is the staple of the Wonder Woman mythology, along with a feasible explanation of how and why it's invisible. In my review of the last 2017 Wonder Woman, I voiced some issues with the near omnipotence of the main characters of some superhero films, and how the villains need to be godlike, mythological, and or from the same planet, plane, or dimension as the hero for there to be any real threat. This film does give us a bit of a change-up and some reduction in our hero's capabilities, albeit a little too convenient to the main ridiculous plot device that is the centerpiece which takes down this film. Diana does come face to face with mortality and being human, so her battles against opponents at times relies less on brute force, and she is forced to tap into other methods to gain the upper hand. I find this refreshing. My final rating. Well, it's been available on HBO Max since Christmas Day, but it's only going to be available there until the 24th of January. So, if you still want to brave it, despite my warnings, you don't have a whole lot of time left. Of course, it will likely return to HBO or some other streaming platform in a few months, so you could just wait it out and you won't have missed much. There's no hurry to watch this, and they have greenlit a third chapter, so we could just wait it out and pretend that WW84 never really happened. One last thing. As much as I did not like this movie, there is a mid-credit sequence at the end that not only gave me the chills, but also redeemed the entire catastrophe of this chapter, and hopefully sets up something in the third film that I really, really hope they give us. Before I leave you this time around, I'm going to drop a mini review of a hidden treasure I found on Prime Video last week. If you have this platform, I urge you to look up The Goes Wrong Show. It's a 7-episode British comedy put together by the fictitious Polytechnic Drama Society theater group that puts on 30-minute stage productions wherein everything, as the title says, goes wrong. Now, you don't need to be a theater major like I was to enjoy the hilarious ways these actors deal with prop, scenery, flood lines, and production snafus that plague every one of their shows. Find it, give it a go, and have a good laugh. It's available on Amazon Prime. I have been your mad expert, Michael Menza. This has been Real Reviews. Up, up, and away!